investment into the country, we've seen a record number of 80 billion plus annually year on year. The next that you see essentially is the India's economic ascent, and all of this is actually architected. Nothing is accidental. What essentially that means is that there is a uniform diligence in terms of reforms, a disciplined policy, reform on reform that's been coming up in terms of ease of doing business, a strong determination by the 1.4 billion people of the Indian economy. So the slide here that you see is essentially a compelling story of India. So the people of India is what represents us. That's the most unique and diverse set of people you'll be able to find as a customer base anywhere across. So if you see, that's essentially the wealth creation story for India in terms of what the 1.4 billion people represent and the 1.4 billion reasons to invest into the country. So that's essentially a pyramid that you see with segmented class in terms of what the people look like in terms of income, what's the customer base, what's the opportunity that's lying, and what's the segment that we're talking about. So on the left, if you see, that's essentially the economic strata or the segment or the customer base that represents India. That's been segmented A into the ultra-premium opportunity that lies. On the right side, if you see, that's essentially 35 million people we're talking about. So luxury real estate and mega infrastructure projects is what we're talking and seeking in terms of opportunity for the top of the pyramid. Once we move down, that's essentially the premium market that we're looking at. Close to 140 million people lie in there. And that's one of the unique and the diverse pool that you'll ever find anywhere across the world. Again, all of this is attracted through the ease of doing business reforms, digital India, innovation, and startup ecosystem within the country. The next is the 720 million of the pyramid, which is our middle class strata. That's essentially the powerful engine where we're looking at the skilled talent. And for any company, any business leader, if you're here, you would know the right talent or skill is what represents their manufacturing, their business. So that's essentially what we're looking at in terms of the MSME support, in terms of digital innovation and massive skilling. When we look at the bottom of the pyramid, that's essentially the foundation. And within the foundation, we're looking at securing livelihoods. Where does the opportunity lie for those people? That's essentially food security, healthcare coverage. So this essentially is the mapping of where the opportunity lies in India, what the customer base is. And that's essentially where we're looking at the Brazilian ambition to match up with what the Indian economy offers. The next that you see here is the India's manufacturing share in terms of GDP. So India is actually bringing a manufacturing revolution. And why do I say so? I think the numbers speak for themselves. So 17.3% is the number that you see currently. That's essentially a percentage of the GDP that we're contributing right now from the manufacturing perspective. And where do we plan to get to? 25%. By the year 25 to 2030 is what we're looking at in terms of target. And what is essentially what's driving these numbers in terms of increasing the manufacturing share? So 3 pillars is what I would say. One essentially is the PLI. PLI stands for the Production-Linked Incentive Schemes, and this is essentially for any business leader, any company who's looking at investing into the country. There is an incentive associated with the manufacturing that you would be doing in certain select sectors. So 26 billion is what's been rewarded in terms of investment across 14 strategic sectors. 1,300 plus manufacturing units have already been set up with the outlay of the PLI that's been rolled out by the government of India. Around 48 billion is what we're looking at the net exports from India. The next one essentially is the unique and how the democracy and the unique factors when we look at the India's economy. And this essentially is a unique 6-pillar structure as to why and where and how the Indian economy is standing where it is standing today. First being the reform engine, the GST reforms, the upcoming liberalized FDI, the lowest global corporate tax anywhere across the world is essentially unifying all the global investors and attracting them towards India. Moving on to the next one, which is a trusted hub, as to why do we call India a trusted hub. And it's not just us voicing we do have ambassadors and success stories of different global investors actually investing and speaking for India by themselves. The next, which I already spoke, the talent at scale, you'll actually see 1.5 million plus STEM graduates, which essentially is a diverse and dynamic youth pool that you would look at skilling and employing in terms of increasing the employee number for setting up a manufacturing unit. The next is the digital public goods. That's essentially when we're looking at the digital revolution that's come up in India, what does India has to offer? The civilization and the soft power, that's where essentially the innovation, the entrepreneurs and the startup ecosystem essentially lies. And the last one being the investor trust. The FDI numbers speak for themselves as to why the investors have been choosing India year on year, and we would also suggest Brazilian companies to come in line in the same way a lot of other companies have taken up India as their investment destination. Moving on to technology and the digital frontier. So I believe India is a digital powerhouse. Again, it's not something I would voice by myself. It's been spoken and seen, and the numbers essentially speak for themselves. We've seen India being the number one in terms of the fintech adoption rate, number two in terms of the mobile penetration and the number of phone users currently that exist in India. And the reason why I'm actually showing these numbers is to showcase where does the opportunity lie. Our Honorable Prime Minister has essentially spoken about the India's digital public infrastructure that's essentially scalable, secure, inclusive in terms of solutions. And what we're looking at is offering that as a public good to different countries in terms of emulating the same model that's worked for India. We do have UPI transactions that actually crossed all the marks. We've actually seen Aadhaar being emulated in different countries, UPI again being used in a lot of countries in terms of transactions. So this itself shows that India in terms of connecting and inclusive digital culture is where we're headed towards, and that's where the opportunity lies in different sectors. Coming to what the India-Brazil partnership has to offer. So I think if I had to put together a line between the two countries, I would essentially say Ordem e Progresso is what Brazil stands for, and Bharat Shakti is what India stands for. And when we put together both of them in terms of partnership is what we're looking at here, that's the numbers. So the foreign direct investment from Brazil to India over the last 25 years has been over 50 million. And that's come across different sectors in terms of textiles, automobiles, in terms of data centers, in renewable energy. And when we see in terms of trade, the different sectors that we're again looking at is pharmaceuticals, automobiles, metals, chemicals, and the bilateral trade currently stands at 12.2 million. Now, I feel that this partnership has to be elevated, and the reason why we're sitting here is because we're invested in each other's growth. And these numbers essentially have laid a foundation. I think we're going to be closing close to 20 years of bilateral relation with both India and Brazil. And that's where we would want this partnership to actually evolve from where it is currently. And for this, if you are an investor, if you are a business leader, if you're an industry captain, or anybody who's looking at investing into the country, please see, and I would also like to put that out there, that you're not alone. You will have a partner on ground, which is Invest India. A quick note about what Invest India is, what we typically do, where we're from. So Invest India essentially is the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency under the Government of India. We stand in the cusp of the government as well as the private bodies. As part of the associations in terms of industry, in terms of professional academia, in terms of government, we're again part of the central, state, federal government all. And moving on to what our facilities eventually entail. So again, we've bifurcated that into three segments. One is the pre-investment, investment, and aftercare. So within the complete journey of investment, there are different ambits that an investor has to undergo in terms of market research, in terms of India geography, India being a diverse country. There are different areas that essentially have to be looked on, have to be guided, and what's best for the investor is how we sort of typically guide any investor. And in terms of investment, that's where when they've actually identified a land and they would be looking at seeding the investment in a particular district or a state is how we also help them with land identification, sightseeing, what are the best sort of incentives that might be applicable. Once their investments are grounded into the country, that's essentially not where our job stops. We also help them with aftercare, because there might be bottlenecks or issues that they might be facing, and we handhold them through the complete journey. So again, all our services is pro bono. So if you're an investor, want to know more about India and looking at investing into the country, please do reach out to the email ID that's been mentioned, and we welcome you all to invest into India. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Verma, for your very insightful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Ms. Tiziana Geraisate, Executive Manager of Petrobras. May I invite you, ma'am, to please share your insights on opportunities in Brazil's energy sector.
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, so thank you for the opportunity. I will speak a little bit about Petrobras. So Petrobras is 73 years old, and since being established in Brazil, it's been growing in exploration and production, refining. Oh, should I go to this? Sorry. From exploration, production, refining, marketing, and trading. Just to give you some numbers, the revenues in Petrobras revenues in 2024 were around $91 billion. The net profit was around $20 billion, and the EBITDA around $46 billion. We have 62 companies, but we are optimizing that right now, trying to reduce this number. We have 41,622 employees, of which 17 are women. And in the leadership positions, talking about diversity, we occupy 24% of the positions in general in Brazil and outside of Brazil as well. And we are working to increase that. We are present in many cities, mostly in Brazil. Our main operation is in Brazil, but we also have companies outside Brazil. Specifically in Brazil, we have 10 refineries, and the exploration and production is also focused in Brazil, mainly around the Brazilian coast, and most of the production, more than 80%, comes from the southeast area. We also have, from the area I belong to, which is the trading, we have 3 companies outside of Brazil in the main hubs, international hubs, which is Singapore. In Europe, we have in Rotterdam, and the US, we have an office in Houston for focusing on trading. So all the imports and exports of Brazil, they are done by the traders in this office and operations as well. However, the coordination, the strategy, it's done by the head office in Brazil. Okay, so going to the next one. We are an integrated company, so we have from the exploration and production in Brazil, we produce 2.8 million barrels in Brazil of oil equivalent, which for crude oil is 2.2 million barrels per day. On refining, we have 1.8 million barrels of capacity, which is quite balanced with the Brazilian domestic market. And we are a net exporters of crude and products, mainly on crude. Last year, we exported 554,000 barrels per day. Today, this year is more than 100,000 barrels more than last year. So we are growing our exports, and we import mainly to lubes and also to mix with for quality mix with our crude. We import crude 154,000 barrels per day. In own products, it's much less, but we export mainly fuel oil, a little bit of gasoline, and also coke. And we import, we are big importers of diesel, middle distillations in general, so it's jet and diesel. And we import and also LPG. On the renewables, we are producing the renewable diesel with 5% of bio fuel from vegetable oil or tallows as well. It leaves the refineries exactly the same molecule as the diesel, but having a parcel of renewables. Also, the Capro is an asphalt that we recycle the used asphalt, and we produce also the renewable asphalt. And also the B24, which is bunkering for the vessels, is bunker with 24% of biodiesel. We begin the operations in Brazil, but we already have operations in our storage in Singapore, which we are already selling. And in general view, we focus on oil and gas. In expanding our exploration and production, we have to replace our fields, so to produce more oil, and also expand our industrial park in Brazil, but not only for oil, but also on the renewable fuels as well. And we plan to be net zero until 2050, and in a just energy transition. We also are technology and innovation. We have a research center in Brazil, which is the one who has those patents I'm mentioning here, is more than 1,200 patents. And we awarded some awards, internationally and nationally, mainly for the pre-salt. We have an ultra-deep water technology. It's a leading technology in the world. And also we have many partnerships for research and development with other countries, other companies, and also universities. So we are open to that. And focus on our relationship with India. We have a long partnership with India since the beginning of 2000s. Beginning with crude oil, we export crude oil to India. At the beginning, our relationship was with the private refiners. Around between 2011 and 2017, India represented 15% of our export. After that came the pre-salt. The oil from pre-salt is a little lighter with better quality. So these refineries here, they have a very complex refineries, so they can run any oil, so they can buy cheaper oil. And then recently we began the relationship. We maintained the relationship with the private ones, but we began the relationship with the PSUs. And a couple years ago, we signed the first contract with IOC. I think it's the biggest PSU in India. And this year, we doubled the former contract for 24 million barrels per day. It's quite good. And this year also, we signed a contract to supply oil to Bharat. It's the first contract with Bharat. And today, we are signing the contract with the third oil company, PSU, here in India. So it's very, very good. Now, India represents 8.1% of the exports of Petrobras. Talking about the products, we import, as I've mentioned, we import diesel and jet. from India, from the refineries here in India. We have also the relationship is from the beginning of 2000. And we export, more recently, we began to export coke to the two biggest calciners here in India, the Rain and Samvira. And to conclude, we see still opportunities to grow. India represents only 1%, Brazilian, our exports represent only 1% of the India imports of crude. So we would like to increase that, and also to engage in cooperation for technology cooperation with the renewables. We both are countries which produce renewables, ethanol and biodiesel, so we would like to be in that. We also have some NDAs and some MOUs with the Indian companies. We are just waiting for the launch of the tender, the government to launch the tender for the exploration in the Indian waters. So it's in a partnership with an Indian company. So we are looking for that. And yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you for the listening.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tiziana, for highlighting the synergies between the two countries in the energy sector and possible areas of collaboration. Considering the time constraint, may I once again request our speakers to kindly limit their remarks only to 5 minutes. Thank you so much for your attention. May I now invite Mr. Sagar Kaushik, Chief Operating Officer, United Phosphorus Limited, to share their company's experience in Brazil and the opportunities in the agri-tech and agriculture solutions.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. She has really put a condition of 5 minutes, and I'm going to break that anyhow. So, ma'am, where is the slide change here? So, this one, yeah, okay. Center, okay, thank you. So I'm representing UPL. UPL is in the agriculture space, and our journey as far as Brazil is concerned, actually it is a fantastic discovery that we have done together with Brazil. And for us, and I'm expected to speak about our experience in Brazil. And so we have been there for the last 30 years. And we have transformed ourselves with the transformation of agriculture in Brazil. So Brazil is actually to us one of the representative countries in the world. We are present in 130 countries as UPL. But the exception country for us is Brazil, because we were able to transform because of Brazil. And that's really a fantastic sign I would like to share with the potential investors. Thank you. What have we discovered? We discovered together with Brazil the unlocking of our own potential, that how much we could do in a new country. And that was possible because of the responsiveness of the entire agriculture value chain stakeholders to our initiatives. So therefore, very positive-minded people, largely, and the unlocking of the talent. The talent that we could get in Brazil is really, I'm going to show you some pictures later, is that it was amazing. We found that some of the talents were too good to be in Brazil. So we took them out and they took over the global responsibilities pretty quickly. So I think this was also the unlocking. The transformation of the agriculture, what we have seen not in the last 30 years only, but even before that, the land which did not exist in Brazil, worth cultivation, you were able to really make them the most productive land in the country and perhaps in the world. So I think those are the transformational changes which unlock the market potential, and it is continuing to grow. When I started to move to Brazil in the year 2010, it's last almost 15 years, the soya area used to be 23, 24 million hectares. And today, the soya area has gone even beyond 40 million hectares. So that's the new area. It is not the shift of the crop. It is the new area which has been added. So therefore, progressively, the kind of transformational in the agriculture sector which Brazil has done with respect to the technology, with regard to market potential, with regard to the mechanization, and really bringing a lot of innovation at the level of the farmers. And the Brazilian farmers, they are the family-oriented business partners and family-oriented companies. And UPL also is a family-oriented company. So we also found a great connect that we were able to do that. So I think what we have built in the last 30 years in Brazil, and more especially in the last 15 years. So I'll show you with some pictures, and later on, if there are some questions, we can always ask. So look, these are our multiple entities which exist today in Brazil, and these are all independent entities, but they work in an integrated way to service the agriculture value chain in Brazil. So we have the crop protection, our flagship entity called UPL do Brasil. And then we have the natural plant protection, which is the biological option, biological portfolio that we have added to improve the performance of the soil health, and also the plant health itself. We have Origio, which basically is focusing on the large farmers. So like that, if you move on from seed business, which is the Advanta company, from seed business to not only harvest, but we go up to the post-harvest. That is the deco business, where some of the fruits in Brazil, like the citrus part, are treated for the post-harvest treatment. We are the largest post-harvest treatment for the silos in Brazil. So I think these large entities have been created to make sure that there is a sustainable agriculture value chain which services the multiple stakeholders nationally and also internationally. I talked about the talent. So each of these entities is headed by a leader. We can call him CEO, we can call him managing director, doesn't matter. But I think at the leadership role, we have the local talent. So for UPL, it is not that we have to send a delegate from India or somewhere else, but I think our local talent were able to deliver the required outcome, and that we are also very proud of. Now you require, of course, the industrialization, because it is the manufacturing activities. Also, we have established through the support within Brazil that most of the products, we are closing the supply chain loop in Brazil. And that is where we have the 2 industrial plants in Peripura and also Itoveraba. So these are the large industrial centers we have. We have been also able to establish the R&D center. You know that we are in agriculture, so we need to actually be developing those technologies which are more relevant for the application side of agriculture, whether it is the plant protection products or the biologicals or the soil treatment. You need the aviation services, et cetera, to do that. So, and you have to do the research at the ground level in Brazil itself. Now, the open ag part, we brought And this is the new concept started about 7 years ago, where we are utilizing our technologies and the sustainability together so that a better value is created for the farmers. So, and it is very important that we do the large-scale testing of these technologies to demonstrate that these are the reference demonstrations for the farmers. So I think these open egg farms you could see in the middle of Brazil, which is the Mato Grosso area that we have established this open egg. Now, we have a comprehensive portfolio, and these are all developed in Brazil. So I'm just telling you for the potential investors that how much potential exists for talent also in terms of the research and development. So we have the portfolio from the seed to the post-harvest. You see some of our brands which are for Brazil. These are not the international brands, but this branding also has been done based on the market segment, based on the pain point of the customers. These products have been established in Brazil. And actually, some of those products have been extended outside Brazil. That's also something that we need to recognize, that how much contribution Brazil has done to our company. So this is the Origio legal entity focused on the large farmers and even making sure that the market linkages are also taking place for their cotton, for their soya, for their corn. So we also create the new markets for the Brazilian growers, including the markets in India for pulses. So these are some of the pillars where, you know, the regenerative agriculture, the new things which are getting established also through the large farmers. So, and the focus is on large farmers with Origio. And of course, to service the multiple legal entities, we have the specialized people or the experts who are really focusing on the multiple farmers, small farmers, mid-sized farmers, or the large farmers. Small farmers, they don't exist in Brazil. So if they are small, we bring them to India. But rest of them is the large farmers means the farmers having some 100,000 hectares, 250,000 hectares. That kind of profile of the farmers exists there. So another entity is the Senagro, where we service the mid-sized farmers and also the distribution through our own retail outlets. So I show you we have 68, and it is still growing in the different states, this part. And because of this, we have the principle of the partnerships also with the other companies. And that's also very important. In Brazil, the partnership comes very quickly. Nobody sees each other, only competitors. But we are willing to participate together to create a better value for the different stakeholders in the agriculture value chain. So the new initiative, which have been initiated by Embrapa. Embrapa is something like Indian Council of Agriculture Research, ICAR, and they invite multiple partners to join, whether we can reduce the carbon footprint in soybean or coffee or the other crops. And some of those initiatives, we have been able to participate, again, through the Brazilian authorities. They are making this initiative to create the consortium. So this is the low-carbon coffee, and this is another project of UPL, where 1 trillion gigaton carbon will be, we will be able to do the sequestration in South America, and largest contribution will come from Brazil. So I think these are some of the really outstanding examples that I wanted to share with you. Ma'am, it's done. Thank you. I beg your pardon if that delay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kaushik, for that very promising and very insightful presentation from you. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Mr. Caetano Spuldaro, who is the Vice President of Sales, Defense and Security, Middle East and Asia Pacific, Embraer, to kindly share his views on opportunities in aerospace, defense and security between India and Brazil.
Namaste, good morning. As a representative of Embraer Defense and Security responsible for the sales and business development in the region, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you, distinguished colleagues, distinguished guests. Thank you very much. I would like to start by saying that Embraer is one of the biggest aerospace companies in the globe. We are structured into 4 different business units: commercial aviation, executive aviation, defense and security, and services and support. And we have created, developed, and delivered products that are leaders in each category in which we operate. Specifically about India, India is a very important market for Embraer as a whole. Our presence here goes back around 20 years, when we started to serve airlines with our fleet of E-jet aircraft, and also in defense and security, we support the Indian government through our fleet of business VIP jets that transport regularly the leadership of the country for their activities on a daily basis, as well as the advanced special mission aircraft, the airborne early warning, NETRA, that provides support in terms of defense and security for the Indian Armed Forces. In terms of opportunities for the Indian market, we see mainly 2 big relevant opportunities for Embraer. The first one I'm going to comment is on defense and security. It's an upcoming procurement program from the Indian Air Force and the Ministry of Defense called MTA, Medium Transport Aircraft. And for this opportunity, we have teamed up with Mahindra Group, a local group from India, to pursue this tender in a very competitive way. Embraer is presenting for India the KC-390 Millennium, which is the most advanced military transport aircraft and is quickly becoming the leader in sales in its segment around the globe. So we are pretty confident that together with Mahindra, we can offer the Indian government the best product in class, the best support, and the best partnership that goes in the direction of the Indian objectives of self-reliance and Make in India. In the commercial aviation, we see an important opportunity for Embraer jets, the small narrow-body fleet of E-jets, to support the gap in terms of regional connectivity. And we are talking to potential partners and airliners in the country to develop this opportunity as well. In terms of our expansion in India, I am happy to announce that earlier this year, we have inaugurated our first 100% owned subsidiary in India. And that over this week, we are inaugurating our office in New Delhi that will be based around Aero City. Tomorrow there will be the celebration with the presence of distinguished guests from both Brazil and India. So we are very happy to see this expansion of the company. This new office will see a growing number of functions moving from Brazil to India. I can, for example, nominate engineering, procurement, services and support, among other important and relevant functions. So in summary, we see India as a very important market, but also as a very important partner, well aligned with Brazil in terms of the Global South vision. And our expectation is that by winning these important projects in India, we can help India grow into their desires for aerospace and defense, and we can turn India into a regional hub that can play an important role in the export of solutions from Brazil and India to the regional market. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Spuldaro, for that wonderful, insightful inputs from you. We now invite Ms. Priyanka Uttam, who is the Regional Manager, America's Corporate Affair, Tata Consultancy Services, to share her views on TCS experience in Brazil and opportunities ahead. May I request our speakers to kindly limit their presentation and their thoughts only to 5 minutes. Thank you once again.
You can count on me. I'll end it in 4. Hi everyone, I'm from Tata Consultancy Services. You think of IT, you think of IT services, business consulting, you think of Tatas, you think of TCS, and we are our consolidated revenue for last financial year have been $30 billion with almost 600,000 employees across the globe. We are in 55 countries. 35.2% of us are women, something I'm very, very proud of. It's a huge number out of 600,000. And we have more than 200 delivery centers across the globe where we are experts in building mission-critical solutions. Out of the global 500, top 500 companies, 300 are our customers, and we're very proud of these numbers. Taking you quickly on our work in Latin America, because we don't have a lot of time today. We've been in the region for more than 20 years now. We are in 9 countries, from Argentina to Uruguay. We serve more than 400 clients, close to 27,000 employees in the region. Moving on to Brazil, we started operations in 2002. We have more than 6,000 associates in Brazil, representing 10 industries from healthcare, life sciences, to energy, retail, pharma. And we serve more than 140 clients in the country. We started with Sao Paulo, Rio, and then moved on to our recent delivery center in Londrina. 2018, our Londrina operation started, and last year we announced one more campus, which will add close to 1,600 jobs in next 5 years. Very, very proud of this announcement. We had the governor with us. We launched a lot of initiatives together. Brazil is not new to us. We are not new to Brazil. To strengthen the partnership, last year we also did another amazing, amazing collaboration with one of the higher education institutes called INSPIR. We have invested more than $8 million in the institute and have opened a passport together where we'll bring our VC startup ecosystem, we'll bring academia, everyone together under one roof. So the innovation that's happening in London, New York, you're able to see in Brazil. We'll focus more on the region, and this will become one of the most important hubs for us in the Southern Hemisphere. This is our first passport in Southern Hemisphere. We do a lot of community initiatives. We have some great numbers to boast about. We do hackathons, but my favorite is the Asai City program that we are doing. It's a small town close to 40 kilometers ahead of Londrina. It has just one tech institute that graduates close to 200 students every year. But because of the local conditions, they are not absorbed in the industry. So what we do is we give them internship opportunities, our employees mentor them, and then we try and make sure that they are market ready, not only for TCS, but we are trying to generate more pipeline for the industry in the country. This is from our side. I'm here the full day, so if you have any questions, very happy to help you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that very insightful presentation, and thank you so much for limiting it to the time. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for actually all our speakers who's taken out so much valuable time and their insightful thoughts. Huge round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been indicated that His Excellency has already arrived. I'm afraid we have to just discontinue this discussion now for all our protocol reasons. But thank you once again. Maybe put in our energy together, clap together, and thank our eminent speakers who've taken out time and, most importantly, their valuable inputs. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. May I request you to kindly remain seated as we will take exactly a few moments to set up our head table and get ready for our ministerial session. Thank you once again.